Okay, so I wanted to do a quick, well, I don't know how long it'll be, so it may not be quick, but I wanted to do an Abyssal Demon guide on Oldschool Runescape. I usually do like Warriors gameplay, like Dynasty Warriors and stuff like that, but I've been playing Old School a lot recently, and I wanted to branch out a bit. Playing Old School is actually why I haven't uploaded in a few days, but I just wanted to try this out. So I'll show like gear, discuss downgrades and stuff, and how to get here and all that stuff. So this is how I get to Abyssal Demons. I do them in the Slayer Tower. Another location you can do them that's pretty good is Catacombs of Corinth, which is good if you want to barrage or Venator bow them, but it's a bit harder to find a world there, so I do them in the Slayer Tower. If you don't have a Slayer Ring, you can use the Fairy Ring CKR, I believe it is, and just run here. But if you have a Slayer Ring, it's really fast. So they're just over here in the Slayer only area. There are some upstairs on the top floor, but... So for the Abyssal Demon gear, if you're on task, you obviously want to use a imbued Slayer helm, or just a normal Slayer helm if you're meleeing like me. If you're Venator bowing them in the, or barraging them in the Catacombs of Corinth, you'll need an imbued Slayer helm, but if you're meleeing it, just a normal Slayer helm works. For the cape slot, the best in slot is obviously an Infernal cape if you're meleeing, or a Dianza's quiver if you're ranging, and then an imbued god cape if you're maging. For the so the next best would be fire cape for melee, which is what I use. Then for the amulet, you want probably any of the Zenite jewelry. Those are fairly cheap, but if you don't have that, Fury would probably be the next best. The ammo slot doesn't really matter. If you're meleeing, you can just bring a normal blessing or the Radha's blessing if you have it. But it doesn't really matter unless you get a superior. You won't be praying. If you're Venator bowing, I'd suggest amethyst arrows. They're cheaper than dragon arrows, and you'd go through a lot of them if you use dragon arrows for it. For the weapon, I use Emberlight, the new Tormented Demons weapon. A direct downgrade would be the Arclight, and then even something like a Rapier or even a Fang, which is Nesmumpton's Fang which is fairly cheap right now, would work. For the body, you want your best melee body. I use Torva since it's the best in the game, but obviously a direct downgrade to that would be Bandos. And then probably the next best would be Obsidian. That has, I believe, 1 strength bonus per piece. For the shield, I'd recommend a defender, so either an Avernic defender or dragon defender. For the legs, I use Torva. Again, Bandos or Obsidian would be the next best in order. For the gloves, I use Ferocious gloves, but Barrow's gloves would be fine. I don't know what you would use if you don't have Barrow's gloves, but if you're doing Abyssal Demons, you probably have Barrow's gloves. For the boots, you want Primordial boots or Dragon boots. For the ring, I use Ultor. The next best would be Berserker Ring Imbued. And I don't really know what you'd use if you don't use that. You can just, if you look that up on the Wikipedia, I think the wiki has, a strategy section for Abyssal Demons. So that's it for the gear. I might make a guide on Venator bowing later. So if I do, I'll cover the rest of the gear in that video for Venator bowing. So this is the inventory I bring for Abyssal Demons. I bring both a Ceradomin Godsword and Guthans in case the Ceradomin Godsword just doesn't hit or I take a lot of damage. The Divine Super Combats definitely aren't required. You can bring just a normal super set or normal super combats if you want. I bring an herb sack and a gem bag. The gem bag is really not necessary. I just like collecting gems. And the herb sack, it's not really necessary, but it does add a bit of extra profit to it. But most of the profit you're going to be making is from the Abyssal whips anyways. I bring the Ash Sanctifier from the Zaya Diary, so I don't have to worry about the ashes. It's basically a bone crusher for ashes. I bring the Soul Bearer in case I get a lot of ensouled heads. I don't have to bank those manually. The Slayer Ring for getting there, a rune pouch with Alks, and Max Cape is what I bring. You can bring house tabs or just a normal construction cape. If you're an Iron Man, I hear farming cape is decent for banking as well. So I did want to include something that's really nice for Slayer tasks and stuff. As you can see, I have all my Slayer tasks and stuff open in a tab like this in my main bank. You can do that by right-clicking on the plus, and usually it's the View Tag Tabs button is like the third option or something. So the way you can make that left click is go to the RuneLite plugin hub and install the Custom Menu Swaps plugin. Then go into the settings for it, and it's custom swaps, and you want to put in this text view tag tab comma star, and what that'll do is make the view tag tabs button left click up here. So that's just a little something I wanted to mention. It's kind of nice. So that's really it I wanted to cover for this Abyssal Demons guide. It's mainly a melee guide, but I may make, like I said earlier, I may make a Venator Row guide in the future. This is my first Slayer guide in Oldschool Runescape. Well, guide in general. So if you have any suggestions or anything, leave them in the comments below, and I'll see you in the next video.